with the Accountability Live Liberia, which we consider iCampus, and supported a total of 38 MSMEs and agricultural cooperatives with funding, technical assistance, and mentorship. The tailored approach has led to tangible outcomes, including increased revenues, job creation, and improved business practices among the supported enterprises. We have built a strong network of mentors, experts, and partners who have contributed to the success of the program and the growth of the businesses involved. The Ministry of Commerce and Industry, the United Nations Development Program, and iCampus impact assessments have shown that businesses supported through our program have experienced significant growth and sustainability. The Growth Accelerator Liberia program is aimed at supporting impactful Liberian businesses and cooperatives across 7 counties: Monserrate, Lofa, Grand Cape Mount, Nimba, Grand Bassa, Sino, and Grand Chide, by providing access to technical assistance, mentorship, and co-financing. For the year 2024, we are excited that the program is recruiting and building the capacity, coach, mentor, and has given co-financing grants to 57 Liberia MSMEs and agricultural cooperatives. Over the last 3 years, this program has been instrumental in propelling local MSMEs and agricultural cooperatives towards their business objectives, and we are proud to have awarded more than $1.3 million United States dollars in extensive business training to 28 MSMEs and 16 agricultural cooperatives. In June 2024, the Livelihood Project graduated 50 youths who were trained in 2023 by the Liberia National Tailors, Textiles, Garment, and Alley Workers Union Incorporated. The project donated 50 new sewing machines to all 50 graduates to enable them to start some livelihood activity after the training. The project also transferred 45,000 United States dollars to 45 women in the textile industry and 45,000 United States dollars to 90 persons living with disabilities in the form of grant to help them start or improve their existing businesses. These persons living with disabilities and women were recruited and trained in 2023, but could not get their payment due to the election and transition until 2024 under this leadership. During the period, the Ministry of Commerce and UNDP installed and commissioned 240-foot solar power prefab containers for the Liberia Vegetable Sellers Association of Liberia in the Omega market. This was to mitigate the challenges of post-harvest loss and waste among SMEs in the agricultural sector. 20 women-led agricultural businesses won a total of $430,000 United States dollars grant under the Growth Accelerator program. 5 SMEs in the category of $40,000 United States dollars each, 8 SMEs in the category of $20,000 United States dollars each, and 7 SMEs in the category of $10,000 United States dollars each. 30 forest-based enterprises also received $10,000 United States dollars each. The Ministry of Commerce and Industry through the UNDP provided short-term jobs for 140 youths by recruiting, training, and placing them in government ministries and agencies and private sector entities under the National Youth Cadet Program. These youths were drawn from Bassa, Nimba, Lofa, and Montserrado counties. Recruited through a vetting process, trained and awarded 340 youths with a grant of US dollars 500 each, totaling 170,000 United States dollars. The payment request has been submitted to the UNDP for processing. Ministry of Commerce through UNDP provided short-term job for 300 youth under the Environmental Stewardship Program. We consider them as Youth Eco Brigade, with each youth being paid US $400 in Nimba, Bon, Magibi, Montserrado, totaling 120,000 United States dollars. The project also planted 500 coconut seedlings in all 5 cities: Sanikwele, Banga, Kakata, Painesville, and Monrovia. The project conducted leadership in village savings and loans, refresher training for the previously established Eco Brigades in Robertsport, Buchanan, Greenville, Vonjema, and Zwedru from August 5 to August 12, 2024. Each brigade was assisted in establishing VSLA program with an initial investment of about 10,000 United States dollars in the form of grant to help them manage and scale up. In July 2024, the Ministry of Commerce conducted lessons learned workshop in Ganta with 66 participants, 28 females including myself, and 38 males in attendance. The gathering was meant to reflect on the past, what has been achieved, what are the opportunities for change, and what lessons can be learned. The 2 days event brought together officials from the UNDP and the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, including civil society organizations, beneficiaries of the project, and other partners including iCampus, the Ministries of Youth and Sports, Gender and Internal Affairs, etc. The government of Liberia, through the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, would like to thank the UNDP, particularly Mr. Anthony Ohime Boama, Res Rep AI, Mr. Louis Kuben, Deputy for Programs, Mr. Abraham Tumbe, and the entire UNDP team for your support to the ministry over the years. As the livelihood and employment creation project comes to an end in 2025, I want to use this occasion to plead for the continuation of the activity. We are willing to pour funds as a government through our widow's might. On behalf of the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, fellow guests, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to thank you all for your participation in this year's conference and trade fair. Your support of this conference is a demonstration of your continuous interest to collaborate with the government to transform the MSME space in Liberia and our arrest agenda. I urge you to take full advantage of every opportunity presented by this conference. Think Liberia, buy Liberia, and build Liberia. I thank you.
Once again, a very big round of applause for the activities. So I'm assuming that 98% of all of us here are on Facebook or Instagram. So this is what I'm going to say. For those of us who are here, whether you've taken a picture here, any of the banners here at the banner outside, just hashtag 2024 MSME Conference and Trade Fair. Whenever you post it on social media, that helps to build a community. And also let me say that all of us that are here today, let us all make sure that our support to the MSMEs are not just in words, but when we're done and we go outside, let us support all of the MSMEs that are outside by either buying their product or eventually hiring their services. I think that is the way we improve our MSME community. Having said that, I welcome to the podium our next speaker. She is the World Bank Country Manager, Madam Georgia Wallen. A round of applause, please.
Thank you. Good morning. Honorable Director General of the Cabinet, Honorable Madam Acting Minister of Commerce and Industry, honorable members of the Cabinet, distinguished officials of the Government of Liberia, esteemed partners, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the opportunity to join you this morning. On behalf of the World Bank, I would like to recognize the vision of the Ministry of Commerce and Industry in reviving this annual National MSME Conference. This year's event is especially timely, as is the theme, From Vision to Implementation. Think Liberia, buy Liberia, and build Liberia. More than ever before, this is a moment for the entrepreneurs of Liberia to rise. Today I would like to especially address Liberia's vibrant and dynamic micro, small, and medium enterprises and their representatives. I want to begin by heartily congratulating you for being risk takers and entrepreneurs. You play a critical role and an essential one in Liberia's economy. Your growth, productivity, and profitability are integral to the more prosperous future Liberia aspires to achieve. At the global level, micro, small, and medium enterprises account for 90% of all businesses, more than 70% of all employment, and half of global GDP. Here in Liberia, you shape this economy and you impact the lives of all Liberians. I want to highlight 3 quick points. First, why does this moment matter? Second, why does this event and events that bring together key stakeholders on this agenda matter? And then finally, what the World Bank is doing to support. First, why does this moment matter? The new Arrest Agenda for Inclusive Development, AAID, sets out ambitious national goals and a roadmap to step up Liberia's development and growth in the 5 years remaining to the Liberia Rising 2030 target. The AAID aims to lift per capita incomes of all Liberians to over $1,000 by 2030. Achieving this in 5 years will require growth that is inclusive. And inclusive growth is growth built on job creation. This is where you, Liberia's micro, small, and medium enterprises, are front and center. Simply put, Liberia Rising is only possible if you make it happen. Second, why does this event and similar efforts matter? The new AAID aims to reform and modernize business and regulatory frameworks to create a more transparent, predictable, and supportive environment for businesses and investors towards enhancing economic efficiency and competitiveness. This week's event matters because tackling the risks and barriers to MSME growth in Liberia is not a task for any single entity. Liberia's indicators covering investment climate, trade, and access to finance point to uncompetitive private and financial sectors. You are well aware of the challenges as well as the opportunities. And And over the next 5 years and well on into the future, we need to work together to lift and strengthen the enabling environment for doing business in Liberia. This includes infrastructure, financial or access to finance, ICT adoption and digitalization, skills building, and building innovation capacity. Real progress will require collaboration among all stakeholders, government at all levels, the private sector, and development partners. By leveraging each other's strengths, we can help to create an environment in which Liberia's MSMEs can thrive. Finally, how do we get there, and how is the World Bank helping? As Honorable Madam mentioned, the Liberia Investment, Finance, and Trade Project, which is kind of the cornerstone of our engagement in this agenda, aims to support SMEs on 3 key levels. First, strengthening managerial capacity. Second, facilitating access to markets and finance through the MSME Line of Credit Facility and the Accelerate 360 Technical Assistance Program. And third, supporting the government to strengthen the business environment while boosting financial inclusion. We're also supporting MSME growth in the agriculture sector through the STAR-P project, which also includes focus on reaching women and youth, while the Realize project is aiming to support micro and informal enterprises. Over the coming months, we look forward to working with you and engaging with the Boac administration to further maximize these initiatives to scale results under the AAIB. In closing, I want to reaffirm that we believe in Liberia's future, and we believe in Liberia's micro, small, and medium enterprises. As you take in the event this week, I want to encourage you to consider a couple of questions. As Liberians across the country rise up to achieve Liberia 2030, what is your aspiration? What targets do you aspire to in terms of profitability and job creation? How will you help to inform policymaking, bridging gaps, and building a more prosperous future for your own business as well as for Liberia? The more specific you are in answering these questions, the more likely you will be to pursue and achieve them. Let's move forward together with determination, recognizing that Liberia's growth is intricately linked to the success of its micro, small, and medium enterprises. Thank you.
Is that all we want to do? Keep clapping for Madam Georgia Wallen. Thank you for that speech. And you know, the macro, small, medium-sized enterprises, we are doing too much for ourselves. We can build our country based on what we are doing. So put your hands together for yourself. You are doing wonderful. So at this point, we will call on MSME keynote speaker, and she's Mistress Angie M. Howard, CEO, Falama Incorporated. Me with a clapping again. Thank you. Guest speaker for the 2022 conference.
Honorable Jeremy here, Minister of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism, other officials of government here present, Mr. Anthony Wyman, Representative, Acting Intern UNDP, officials and members of the private sector, my fellow SMEs, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I stand before you today as a proud Liberian entrepreneur and a passionate advocate for empowerment of small and medium-sized enterprises, particularly women-owned SMEs and women in cross-border trading. I am honored to speak at this significant moment when our nation is focused on mobilizing its full potential for economic transformation and growth as stated under the IRA's agenda for inclusion and development and the country development agenda. This is not just a gathering. It is a testament for our shared belief in the potential of Liberian businesses, the power of entrepreneurship, and the promise of more prosperous and equitable nation. The theme of this conference, Think Liberia, Buy Liberia and Build Liberia, is not a mere slogan. It is a call for action that should inspire all Liberians at home and abroad. I am of the strongest conviction that SME in every economy like ours are the bedrock of economic growth, but this cannot happen in the absence of vibrant, nationally owned competitive industry where manufacturing and processing are in full gear. Our national leaders, particularly so members of the legislature, the executive branch of government, have to make the sacrifice and be intentional in their support for the growth of Liberian SME. This means we have to now shift from vision to implementation. What does the phrase Think Liberia truly mean? It is about fostering a mindset of local pride, responsibility, and opportunity. Think Liberia, we envision a future where our businesses, our products, our economy flourish on the strength of our own people and resources. Buy Liberia means we are intentional about purchasing Liberian-made goods and services in both domestic and international markets, thereby creating economic growth to keep money circulating locally and creating jobs. Build Liberia is the most profound of them all. It is about creating an economy, ecosystem that sustains jobs, empower our communities, and strengthen our national infrastructure. The conference is a critical opportunity to reflect on how we as a nation can turn this vision into reality. As SME owners, investors, and government officials, we hold the keys to Liberia's economic future. By focusing on the challenges and opportunities within the SME sector, we can create jobs, strengthen our economy, and build sustainable livelihood for the people of Liberia. Poverty reduction and inequity by empowering MSMEs. Liberians have been persistently challenged with poverty and inequity for so many decades. We know, however, that the answer lies with all of us in this room. With our entrepreneurs, within our community, and within our MSME. We, the MSME, are the backbone of our economy. We provide much needed jobs, contribute to the local economy, and foster the entrepreneurial spirit that will drive Liberia's future. In a country where approximately 60% of the population lives below the poverty line, MSME are critical in lifting families out of the devastating poverty. To truly reduce poverty and inequity, we must empower our MSME, but empowerment requires more than just intention. It requires practical support. We need to provide MSME with access to capital, technology, training, and mentorship. We need to reduce bureaucratic hurdles, ensure that businesses have the tools they need to flourish. And perhaps most importantly, we must encourage a culture of entrepreneurship where individuals, particularly our youth, are inspired to innovate, create new jobs, solutions to local challenges. It is through these collaborative efforts that we can bridge the gap between opportunity and reality. Transforming dreams of local entrepreneurs into sustainable businesses that drive job creation, reduce poverty, foster long-term prosperity for all Liberians. When MSME are empowered, they will contribute to a more diversified economy by supporting local value chain, reducing Liberia's reliance on imports, and increase the production of goods and services within our country. Foreign direct investment, FDI and MSME, a partnership for growth. Now, let's turn our attention to foreign direct investment, FDI. For many, this term may sound like a distant concept, but for MSME, it holds immense promises. Foreign investment is about more than just capital. It's about knowledge, technology, and expertise that can elevate our businesses to the global standard. We therefore need a collaboration partnership between the MSME and direct investors to assist modernize production and to also create market linkages. Commercialization of agriculture, the untapped potential. Commercialization of agriculture in Liberia represents a transformative opportunity to drive economic growth, create jobs, improve livelihood across the nation. Liberia is gifted. I mean gifted by God. We have everything. With the vast agricultural resources, yet the sector remains underdeveloped, with most farming activity focused on subsistence rather than commercial production. By transitioning to large-scale, market-oriented agriculture, we can increase productivity, reduce poverty, especially in a rural area where majority of our population live. The commercialization of agriculture will not only enhance food security and reduce Liberia's reliance on import, but also position the country as a competitive player in the regional and global agricultural markets. Through investment in agro-processing, modern farming technique, and value-added products, we can strengthen our agricultural value chain, attract both local and foreign investment, and build a more resilient economy. Liberia should really galvanize resources to support the commercialization of agriculture. It is crucial to address the challenges that hinder our growth, particularly access to finance, modern technology, and market linkages. Smallholder farmers often face barriers to credit and lack the infrastructure necessary to large-scale production and distribution. To overcome these obstacles, there must be intentionality and combined efforts to improve access to finance for farmers and agribusinesses, as well as training on doing farming as a business. Furthermore, building better roads network, storage facility, and processing plant will help reduce post-harvest losses and improve the value chain. We can ensure the Liberian agriculture sector not only feed the nation, but also become a major engine of economic growth, job creation, and rural development. By embracing agro-tech startups and value addition businesses, we can position Liberia as a key player in the global market. Supporting agro-processing businesses will also open new markets for Liberia's diverse agricultural products, from cassava products to palm oil, to cocoa, to rubber, while boosting the income of our farmers and our entrepreneurs. I have read the Liberia National Agricultural Development Plan 2024-2030. It looks very good and rewarding. But as an entrepreneur and someone who has been in the sector for over the years, I still question our ability to achieve the true progress of this not reflected in our national budget. The development agenda of agriculture must be seen in the national budget. I know the envelope is so small with many priorities, but the government can attract investors, mainly countries that are successful in rice production like China, Japan, India, etc., where they can partner with our Liberian entrepreneurs to produce rice on a large scale. The foreign firms with the right technology and equipment can partner with our local SME under an arrangement for a number of years, after which the partnership of the operation can be turned over to the Liberian firm. As a practitioner, I know for real that with the right inputs, including irrigation, we can produce rice 3 times per year. This radical solution will reduce rice importation beyond the current projected 70%. Over the years, we have advocated for a 10% quality flour blend with every bag of cassava flour on the Liberian market. And we are back again today with the same thing. We keep talking until we get results. So, to the President, representative of the President, the Minister of Commerce, representative of the Minister of Agriculture, the legislator and the development partner, we are asking your support in this endeavor. For example, Nigeria has 35% flour blend. Ghana has 25%. We are only asking for 10%. Youth innovation and entrepreneurship, the future for Liberia. Youth of Liberia are our greatest asset, full of energy, ideas, and ambition. Yet many face grim reality of unemployment, limited opportunities. The future of Liberia depends on the ability of our youth to be innovative and entrepreneurial. However, for this to happen, we must invest in their potential, education, mentorship, and access to finance. We must also support youth-led businesses, particularly those in the technology and creative industries, which are becoming increasingly important in today's global economy. Environmental sustainability and SME, a global issue, a local solution. As we discuss the future of MSME, we must also consider the global issue of environmental sustainability. Climate change is a challenge that affects all of us in this room, and MSME play a crucial role in this. We must support MSME in collaboration with our international partners to adopt green practices such as energy efficient technology, renewable energy, and sustainable business models. Through the adoption of modern, sustainable farming practices such as crop rotation, efficient water management, and environmentally friendly technology, Liberia can ensure that its agricultural sector is resilient to the impact of climate change. Formalizing the informal sector, unlocking the opportunity to growth. Finally, I want to speak about formalizing the informal sector. World Economists, a London-based think tank, estimates that the informal sector in Liberia comprises of 42.7% of the Liberian economy, which constitutes $6 billion at GDP purchase power parity. The informal sector is the lifeblood of Liberia's economy, yet it remains largely unstructured and underdeveloped. Finally, finalizing those businesses will be huge opportunity for growth, access to finance, government contracts, and broader markets. By formalizing, businesses gain credibility, increase their productivity, and position themselves for long-term success. We must make the process of formalizing simpler and more accessible to small business owners, particularly those in the rural area. Conclusion, a call to action. In closing, let me remind all of us that we stay at a critical moment in Liberia's history. Our MSME holds the key to transforming our economy, creating jobs, reducing poverty, and building a more sustainable and prosperous future. But this transformation will not happen by chance. It will happen through the collective efforts of all of us in this room. Let's think about the future generation as we think about ourselves. Let's fight corruption. Corruption will destroy our country. Let's move from lip service to real action. Together, we can make Liberia a beacon of innovation, entrepreneurship, and sustainable development. Let's think Liberia, buy Liberia, build Liberia, one business at a time, one job at a time, one partnership at a time. With God above our rights to prove MSME, we will prevail.
Very special thanks to our MSME keynote speaker, Angie M. Howard. She's the CEO of Pharma Incorporated. This program also has a couple of government ministries and agencies that are key partners, including the Ministry of Youth and Sports, the Environmental Protection Agency, the Ministry of Agriculture, and of course the Ministry of Information, Culture Affairs and Tourism. Before we take remarks from our government partners, we will now welcome to the stage the National Cultural Troupe of Liberia for a performance. A round of applause, please. much. A very big round of applause for the National Culture Troop of Liberia from the Ministry of Information, Culture Affairs, and to a very, very big round of applause for the National Culture Troop. It's now time to get remarks from our sponsors. And firstly, we will now call on the former Minister of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Amin Bodak, for special remarks.
Honorable Tanya Kwabo, representing His Excellency President Joseph Nwaka. Honorable Scholastica Doe, Acting Minister, also representing newly appointed Minister. Honorable Magdalene Dagosa. Honorable Gerald Paul Bangaloo, Minister of Youth and Sports. Madam Georgia Walling, Country Manager of the World Bank. Officials of government. Deputy Ministers and staff of the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Nadi B. Davis, President of the Chamber of Commerce, Mr. James Trotter, President of the Liberian Business Association, platform guests, guest speaker, other development partners, entrepreneurs, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I'm truly honored to join you this auspicious event, not only because it is one of the programs that I championed while serving as minister, but because it highlights the commitment partnership between the government, development partners, and the private sector on fostering change and developing a sustainable economy. I congratulate the leadership of the Ministry of Commerce, the World Bank that supported this initiative, our partners in the private sector for pulling this through successfully. There could never be a more opportune period for such an event than at this pivotal period in our country's history. It is not a joke and not intended to cast aspersions, but this administration inherited a dysfunctional and stressed economy. Broken down institutions including the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, and an apprehensive and uninspired business community. However, the ensuing events of this MSAE conference are testaments to what we have to offer as a people and the endless possibilities to what we can achieve with the genuine leadership we now have. The theme of the conference, Think Liberia, Buy Liberia, and Build Liberia, as coined by President Wakai, is particularly apt in today's reality, the challenges we face and the actions we must take as stakeholders. We have a saying that we have always developed good strategies and policy prescriptions, but we continue to falter on effectively implementing these in ways that truly build a vibrant and resilient economy. Whatsoever advancements we make have been marred by corruption, trade deficits, fiscal mismanagement, and eroded progress in creating an enabling business environment. As a result, we haven't been able to effectively harness our comparative advantages to empower ourselves as we should. Also, as a small economy, we're often highly impacted by exogenous trends because we are not prepared to withstand them. We must continuously contend with harsh impacts of global health crisis, financial crisis, continents away, global wars like what is happening in Ukraine and the Middle East. These cause shifts in supply chains and trade inflows. They slow down our access to new and vastly improving technologies, all impacting the prices of commodities such as petroleum, our staple food rice, and other important raw materials such as steel. But there is hope. And there are ways around these, beginning with us focusing on self-sufficiency and self-reliance, reducing as much of what we consume, particularly our foodstuff. Luckily for the private sector, we have a president who thrived in the private sector, understands the agricultural sector, in the relevant value chains and champions empowering the Liberian private sector. The REST agenda and all our efforts reflect the theme of this conference: to show and secure our economy by building a vibrant and resilient Liberian private sector around our comparative advantages. This must also compel us as entrepreneurs to think and endeavor beyond the government. Yes, the government must be challenged to fulfill its obligations and responsibilities. And yes, more needs to be done in building, more needs to be done, including putting in place a fully functional electronic single window system that will link customs, traders, and trade-related agencies. Yes, we must improve the standard structure to facilitate our capacity to export competitively. Yes, the cost of doing business and administrative bottlenecks must be reduced. Yes, roads connecting the counties, enhancing value chain linkages must be improved. But I can say this with confidence because I experienced the leadership and commitment by the President and many of those he appointed to serve, that genuine progress and positive changes have been made despite some of the distractions and distractors out there. This administration is doing its part, and many partners, including World Bank, are indeed supporting the REST agenda. Roadworks are picking up. Prices of commodities, notably petroleum, are consistently dropping, positively impacting the cost of doing business. Efforts to improve affordable power supply can be felt. The macroeconomic environment is improving. We see that the exchange rate is adjusting as all the other economic variables are beginning to jive. My question to you, the private sector, does this stop with the government? We often hear that our comparative advantages are our resources and our endowments. True, we have a young and dynamic population, diverse resources and strategic locations that can make us a compelling destination for foreign direct investment. However, let me emphasize here that our greatest endowment is our people, particularly you, the private sector. From the informal sector and micro enterprises to the larger Liberian enterprises, you are the engine of our economy and the reflection of our state, whether good or bad. You, the private sector, must play your role and challenge yourselves to take charge of your economy by being progressive and resilient. We must invest properly and smartly in sectors and products that make sense and support our collective security. You can do it. Liberia might not in the short term be a producer of cars or by global terms be an industrial nation, but we can achieve sustainable economic growth in a decentralized manner, impacting every county by investing in our comparative advantages, challenging ourselves to aspire and do more. We must focus on what we know, what we can do best. The Ministry of Commerce strategic agenda for the next 5 years, from improving services, improving the intellectual property system, to developing standards aimed at supporting you, the SMEs, and the informal sector. I mentioned that you must invest smartly. You must be mindful of emerging global trends that are fundamentally shaping how the world does business. For example, advances in artificial intelligence and sustainable or green business practices are having profound impacts on productivity, access to finance, and are opening new opportunities that transcend borders. Clearly, from what we see outside, Liberians are participating in value addition. This is commendable and you are on the right trajectory. But I challenge you to strive to improve the quality of your products, beginning with proper processing and packaging to harness export opportunities. Before even speaking about opportunities through AGOA or other trade protocols that we are yet to harness, I implore you to explore regional opportunities through the African Continental Free Trade Agreement that offers immense market opportunities across the continent. I'm talking about selling your products next door in Sierra Leone or in Ghana, Kenya, or South Africa. Liberia has relied on the exportation of raw materials, raw resources for decades. Clearly, this model is not working. In fact, prosperity has been an illusion centralized in Monrovia and benefiting only a few. But historically, Liberians were respected traders. Reflectively, one cannot fathom how we never evolved and grew concomitantly with our age and the resources we have. Just to provide a historical context, from 1840, Liberia supplied Britain with oil palm products. This period marked the beginning of Liberia's entry into the world trading system as producer and exporter. Coffee and palm oil were our primary cash crops. This led to the encroachment, as you know in history, of Liberia's territory that led to our independence. Driven in part by the stimulus of international trade and global industrial expansion, Liberian economy diversified in the mid and late 19th century. Large plantations in Maryland and along the St. Paul produced rice, sugar, yam, cocoa, cotton, and dingo. In fact, between 1860 and 1970, Brazil, now a major exporter of coffee, and the West Indies were importing coffee from Liberia. By 1870, Liberia had developed shipyards with numerous vessels prominently facilitating regional trade. If this could happen then, more can be achieved now, especially when the disposition of this government is in your favor. Yet again, we must ask ourselves why we haven't grown and developed as we go. This leads to my final challenge to you. You know, I've been reflecting on some of the challenges that I face not only as an entrepreneur, but also when I serve as minister. And it dawned on me that our society has been stunted by what would be referred to as malicious envy, or the crab mentality. There's a very thin line between malicious envy and what we see that drives prosperity and development in other countries. Who can tell me what that is? Who can guess? Constructive competition. I challenge you today to aspire to be better than your brother and your sister, be better than the entrepreneur next door, better than your competitors doing the same businesses you are doing. I challenge you to aspire for more, however, compete constructively and complementarily. Exhaust your time, energy, and resources positively and choose to embrace your challenges as opportunities to grow and succeed. In closing, I thank all the stakeholders and participants for this splendid program, and I would like to particularly thank the Ministry of Commerce and Industry and my whole team for allowing me to bask in this success, the success of this program that has been dear to me. Thank you and God bless.
You can do better than that. Let's do it because it is, from what I'm hearing, is under his regime here as minister that this program actually kicked off. It has been dormant for years and he brought it up. So give him a hand of applause one more time, And at this point we will call, we got a master copy. Maybe you got what you got in your hands, but we have the master copy. So at this point we will call Honorable Emmanuel K. Ure, PhD, Executive Director, Environmental Protection Agency, for his remarks.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here. Honorable Akwabo, representing the President, my friend, government officials, Ms. Georgia Welland, World Bank, and all of our development partners, our great entrepreneurs present in this room, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I bring you greetings from the Environmental Protection Agency, an institution that is determined to promote not only a clean and healthy Liberia, but to create the environment where sustainable businesses can thrive to contribute significantly to the Arrest agenda for inclusive development. Thank you for inviting me to make a brief remark at this great occasion. A friend of mine who owned a small enterprise did something very innovative. He realized that community members, especially women, were not owning phones in towns and villages, and those who owned them were charging them as a high price, like $100 per charging. This was very, very hard for villagers, many of whom survived on less than $1 per day. He wrote a proposal and won a grant that enabled him to partner with phone charging booths, replacing small type of generators with solar system, reducing the charging price from $100 to $20 Liberian, or 80% in reduction, at the same time saving 1,020.6 metric tons of carbon over the next 10 years. This was very innovative. Review of the impact of this project saw an increase in the number of people, especially women, with cell phone. Why? Because they could afford to charge the phone at a lesser price. The reason why I share this short story with you is to inspire you and to inform you that there are countless opportunities in the environmental and sustainability sectors that can unlock potentials for job creation in this country. Just look around you and see how restrooms, especially those in public buildings, and quite frankly, in private businesses as well, how filthy they are. There's a golden opportunity to establish a small maintenance company that can do proper cleaning up job. How about the lack of trash collection and the proper disposal of trash? We have already developed a national solid waste policy that is private sector driven. We are asking you to take advantage of this policy. Some of you are trying, but there are risks that are preventing you from being successful. The first is lack of enforcement of the liberalization policy, which gave a minimum of 0.5% government purchases to be done at small businesses in Liberia or Liberia-owned businesses. That has not been enforced fully. This is an impediment to your success, and we're asking the government to do something about this. You know, during the presidential campaign in 2023, I met a group of women in a small village. They had so much corn, dry corn, and the corn was being destroyed by bugs. Interestingly, chicken feed and the primary ingredient is corn. It's very expensive in Liberia. When I asked why chicken feed is so expensive, I was told that that ingredient, corn, is being imported into the country. So there's a lack of disconnect that our people are producing corn, the corn has been damaged, which is the ingredient to produce chicken feed, and the chicken feed is expensive because of producing it, importing the corn from outside. That's a disconnect. And we have to find means to connect these together. There's another challenge there in terms of missing link within buying system in Liberia. To be able to help some of this, we now have an agricultural policy, and this policy is seeking to fulfill some of these gaps. We ask for your full support in the implementation of the national agricultural policy. Another risk is lack of training and financial discipline. The best way to grow a business is to invest money. But You can only invest the money if you have it in the first place. We see a lot of small businesses struggling to survive. The reason they make all kinds of spending. They spend on political activities, family, friends. You just spend. And at the end, you don't have money to reinvest in the business. There's a small group here in Liberia, a small group of people who are very financially disciplined. And we can see their businesses growing. And those of us who are not practicing that, we need to emulate their successes. I have been said, the third and most dangerous risk is corruption, both in the private sector and the public sector as well. Some public officials put a saying, what I call saying in the wheel of small businesses when they make to process documents and make it difficult. That is really bad when it comes to, if you need to process a document, you need a new document, business registration document, even to pay taxes. With the intention of taking bribe, they make it difficult. Like putting sand in the wheel. The wheel cannot turn if you put sand in it. Those who are doing that, we're asking them to desist. Perform your job. Stop making the job so difficult for the small businesses. It's too costly and time consuming for them. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we are doing something about some of these things at the EPA. We are effectively dealing with this last week at the EPA and making sure we serve the public with utmost integrity. We are streamlining the ESIA processes, placing trustworthy people in key positions. We have mandated a policy that international consulting doing ESIA in Liberia should pair with a Liberian firm. We have also mandated that we have a limited number of international consultants. Every day our capacity is never built. Every day capacity. Projects that come through the EPA, we are developing one with the Minister of Agriculture right now. We are saying if we see any word that says international consultant, we're not signing. Because we have to get the local consultant to support the local businesses. That is very, very important. Let me just close here with this quote from President Obama, who said, small businesses are the backbone of our economy and cornerstone to our communities. If making Liberia as a low middle income country by 2030, as envisioned by the REST agenda, is to be successful, small, medium enterprises will have to play a greater role. We do count on you to play that role. Thank you.
Thank you to the Executive Director at the Environmental Protection Agency, Dr. Emmanuel Kwakabe Ure. Next, I will now call for remarks the Minister of Youth and Sports, Minister Gerald Cole Bangali. A round of applause, please.
Cabinet colleagues, dear President, and of course my own powerful DG, the other platform guests, Webbank representative, our keynote speaker, to the President of the Liberia Chamber of Commerce, President of the Liberia Business Association, other distinguished members of the private sector, fellow Liberians, ladies and gentlemen. At times, in my mind, to achieve this whole idea of sustaining Liberian businesses will require practical approach. So I am the Minister of Youth and Sports. So my work is to work with three categories of youth. Youth that are not in school at all. People call them at-risk youth, or I don't like to say Zogo. Then youth that are in school. Then youth that are out of school, but they ain't got nothing to do. Then you can add youth that are doing business. So there are four. So the other day, I decided to walk. You know, my office is just at the SK Sports Complex. So I decided to walk outside, just take a stroll to see Liberian businesses and how the youth are faring. So I walked on SD Cooper Road. I was not interested in the liquor shops. So I see a store there, like, and there you see Liberian made clothes, Tada. And I walk there and I see a young lady. Her name is Vanessa Lofty Sutton. So she is doing this church on her own and hanging them up and selling. She graduated from UMU last year. So I said, what's your name? And she introduced herself. And she said, this is what I do for a living. And she says to me things I thought. I said, why? She said, you government officials, you don't patronize me. You're like wearing posters. So I plan that today when I come here, I will bring it up. But I see my colleagues, all of them. So I decided to wear this to promote Lofty or small business. And I said, I will inform my colleagues that there are more than 1,000 or 2,000 Lofties. And I realized that we are victims of cultural imperialism. And so, let me define cultural imperialism. Maybe somebody could help me, but let me just, you know, they say, I don't know why they're throwing and feel why this stuff, because anything you want, you never go to do. We used to borrow books, we used to stay in line and quabble to borrow books, but now, how many ways to cook palava sauce, everything was here. So cultural imperialism refers to dominance of one culture over others, often as a result of economic or political influence. Where are they supposed to benefit from? We are victims of cultural imperialism. A Western culture. A Western culture. Few years ago, Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and the current president, JNB, when he was vice president, instructed all cabinet officials or government officials every Friday wear Liberian made shirt or dress. And that thing became serious. And it started trickling down. The civil servants, all of them, because they say, lead by example. So when they see the minister wearing it, civil servants started wearing it. And when we started asking people who were saying, there's a man called Momo Kamara, he's a tailor. He sells African clothes on Camp Johnson Road. We went there several times and said, my clothes finished. Because the parents were wearing it. Colleagues, I've read my case. got my speech in the book. I will not read it. It's there. It's for you, Madam Minister. Come on, look at it. I will just be a little bit practical today. But my speech is here. The second thing, which category you put my paper riders in? Are they doing small businesses? Are they? Yes. Now let me tell you something. And I told the police director, now they go in the street, they got no-go zone. The police director says to me, my goal, my legacy goal, is to ensure that the streets are clear of these people and that we can drive freely. I go. I told him my goal as you transport minister is for people to be doing something. So I told him, I said, when your goal and my goal clash, then we'll need a conference. So we had a conference and it's going well. So when you listen to some of the stories, there's a pimping rider who was in jail at Sawbish for almost 6 months. The owner of the bike bought a bike in Kakata and gave it to him to ride. He came and was using the no-go area. The bike got arrested, taken to some police station. How will he go back to Kakata? When he went back after a few days and explained, the owner said, you lied, you connived, you stole my bike. They arrested a man and put him in jail. So that came to me. We followed through. We found out that the bike was actually parked at the police station. But let me tell you what happened. Part of what is happening is that we, government, we are also bringing in stringent measures that safeguard and regulate. Very stringent. The motorbike is sold around $950. They need $120 for insurance. Then they need, $120 for insurance. You need to register the bike to get a license plate. By the time you get through all of that, you're talking around $1,200, $1,300. You take the bike and decide to run it. By the time you run it, you mistakenly go in a no-go zone, they arrest the bike and take it to Central. You go there and the various depot, the bike there, and park there. So I told the police director, why? If the traffic infraction, say, pay $5, $10, get your bike. But you can't keep the bike parked here. At the end of the day, they take the bike, take it to the court, and they auction it. And who knows who's going to buy it or not cover? Our problem is the laws. Our problem is to be real, will be practical. Thank you. God bless you.
Nobody tell you to clap. So the minister hit the nail on the head. Thank you, Minister Ko Bangalu. At this point, we will call Deputy Minister for Administration from the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism, Johnny S. Tapa. He's here representing Honorable Jerry Big Matthew Pierre, Minister of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism.
I'm a bit embarrassed to speak. Thankful to be here. I learned that this event has not been held for the last 6 years. So that demonstrates the leadership from this. Honorable Nathaniel Kwabo, Director General of the Cabinet. Acting Minister Scholastica Nimle. Partners, members of the business community, Cabinet officials here present, our honored guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great privilege and honor to stand before you today at this flagship event for promoting micro, small, and medium enterprises. I would like to express my sincere appreciation to the Ministry of Commerce and Industry for hosting this important conference, which marks a pivotal moment in our history. As we gather here on the theme, from vision to implementation, think Liberia, buy Liberia, and build Liberia, we are reminded of the critical role that MSME plays in driving economic development, fostering innovation, and creating sustainable employment opportunities. This conference serves as an important platform for dialogue among policyholders or policymakers, investors, civil society, financial institutions, multinational companies. Our collective goal is to accelerate the growth of MSMEs, reduce poverty, and address inequality through youth innovation, environmental protection, tourism, agriculture, commercialization. As one of the leaders in the tourism sector, I would like to specifically focus on how developing the tourism industry in Liberia is intricately linked to the growth of MSMEs. Tourism is not only an essential pillar for Liberia's economic future, but also a powerful engine for job creation and poverty reduction. It offers a wealth of opportunities for local entrepreneurs to engage in value-added services such as hospitality, transportation, and crafts, all of which are directly tied to MSME's growth. Tourism in Liberia presents an opportunity for sustainable economic development, given our rich cultural heritage, abundant natural resources, and the potential for ecotourism and adventure tourism. By investing in tourism infrastructure, supporting local entrepreneurs, and ensuring that our young people are equipped with the skills and knowledge to innovate, we can harness the full potential of this sector. At the same time, the focus on environmental protection within the tourism sector is crucial. Sustainable tourism practices that protect our environment while fostering growth will ensure that Liberia's natural beauty remains a key asset for generations to come. As we promote our tourism sector, we must also prioritize sustainable development goals that foster economic growth, protect our natural heritage, and empower our youth. Furthermore, agricultural commercialization holds immense potential for MSMEs growth. By leveraging the synergy between tourism and agriculture, we can provide visitors with authentic, locally produced food experiences while boosting the livelihood of farmers and entrepreneurs. This approach will not only improve food security, but also create new markets for our agricultural products, promoting MSME
participation in both local and international markets. As we move from vision to implementation, we must also ensure that our MSME are supported by inclusive practices, access to finance, and a conducive regulatory environment that allows for innovation and entrepreneurship to flourish at the same time. We must continue to foster partnership between the public and private sectors, civil society, the international investor community to ensure that Liberia's MSME sector thrives and plays its vital role in reducing poverty and inequality. Ladies and gentlemen, the future of Liberia lies in the hands of our youth, our innovators, and our entrepreneurs. It is our collective responsibility to create an environment that nurtures their ideas, support their ventures, and empowers them to take ownership of our country's economic future. By focusing on developing our tourism industry, promoting environmental protection, and supporting youth innovation, we are laying the foundation of a prosperous Liberia that offers opportunities for all. Finally, at this juncture, I look forward to an insightful discussion with all of us here today, and I'm confident that the solutions we develop here will lead us closer to a Liberia that is not only prosperous but also equitable, sustainable, and inclusive. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy Minister for Administration, Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism, joining us, Tapa. At this point, we will also call David K. Akwe, Deputy Minister for Planning and Development. He's here representing Honorable J. Alexander Nuttall, PhD, Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you. You know, I was sitting thinking about it, but thank God she's just provided a clarification that I am not Dr. J. Alexander Nuttall. When we were coming here, they started the call. So that was the first name they called. And when they called, I was there walking upstairs as if to say, I am the doctor. I am not the doctor. So let me make that disclaimer first, so that everybody knows that my shoe is too big for me to stand in. Having said that, let me recognize the DG, Honorable Kwago, platform guests, honorable ministers, and all of the beautiful people seated down here. You are well recognized by me. Thank you. So for me, I can normally say, permit me to stand on all existing protocols. Today, I'm turning it around. I just want to stand on one existing protocol. And that is the protocol established by the Honorable Minister of Youth and Sports, who spoke from his heart, not looking at paper, not looking at theory, but looking at the path. So he said,